Hello everyone, welcome back to Journey with Data. And I'm back again with yet another video on Python. And this time I will be discussing all about pandas. Now to those who must be wondering what pandas is, let me tell you, it is a very powerful data analysis and a manipulation module written in Python. It is quite frequently used by data analysts and scientists in their day-to-day lives. And trust me though, it is very easy to learn this tool. With the help of this, you can get answers to certain questions. I'm just quoting some of them. For example, if you are interested in knowing the maximum temperature throughout the day, or how many customers visited your store this month, what was the count of your invoices on a month-on-month basis, and so on. And Excel makes all of this difficult as the data volume increases. With the help of pandas, you can perform a wide variety of operations. For example, you can perform join, merge, pivot, aggregation, transpose, reshape, and so on. And we will be exploring all of these in our upcoming videos. But then this video is focused on the basic data analysis with Python. So let's explore these sections. So step number one, you first need to install and import the library. So I already have installed it. However, if you don't have the library installed, you can do it either through PIP or through Anaconda. So PIP is a package management system for installing and managing the software packages within Python. And yes, Anaconda is an open source software that contains Jupyter, Spider, notebooks, and so on. So I already have downloaded it. I will import it using the command import pandas as PD. Here a PD refers to the alias for this pandas module. So whenever I will access any of the objects from this module, I will use this alias PD. You can use any alias of your choice. So let's run it. So I've imported the library. As already discussed in previous slide, that there are two kinds of data structures, a series and a data frame. So here I am creating a series with the help of a constructor called series, a series. So this will create an empty series, as you can see here in the output. You can also create a series from a list, from a NumPy array, and so on. So here I am creating a series. Let me comment this one. So here I am creating a series with the help of a list. So I've created a variable ser. So pd.series, I've called upon this constructor and passed on a list with values 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let me run this. So this creates a series. Now, how to create a data frame? Similarly, using lists, dictionaries, NumPy arrays, or external files. So this one shows how to create using a dictionary, which has keys like ID and product, and values like 1, 2, 3, ABC, etc. So remember, a data frame is created using a constructor called data frame. So here I've created a variable df with a dictionary key value pairs, and I have passed this variable inside this pd.data frame, which will eventually create a data frame. So a data frame is created with column names ID and product. Alternatively, you can create a data frame from a file as well. So there are various modules to read a file. One is read CSV, depending on the file type extension you have. To read a CSV, you will use a read CSV module. To read an Excel file, you can use read_Excel. Similarly for JSON, read_JSON, read_HTML, and so on. So there are various modules. So I have again created a variable which is a df. So pd dot, I am reading a file, a CSV file. So pd dot read a CSV. I'll give the file name, and you can also provide the file path or whatever file, wherever your file is. So by using here, you can provide the file path followed by your file name. So using it, I am not providing the file path here. So pd dot, because it will take the default path, so I've kept this file in a default path. So if you want to check what is the default path, you can write the command pwd, present working directory. So pd.readcsv. So I have a file name called data.csv and I have passed an encoding. So that's an optional parameter. And similarly with encoding, along with encoding, there are other optional parameters as well. So I'm reading this file. So df is equal to pd.readcsv. So now this is created. Now let's see how what are the contents inside this data frame. So this will create a data frame. Let's see, because it has multiple columns, so this is a data frame. Now to depict the dimensionality of a data frame, we have a command called df.shape. df.shape, which will tell you how many rows and columns are there. As you can see that this consists of 8 columns, and so there are multiple rows inside this. So this is going to give you an idea of how many rows and columns are there. So the next thing after data frame creation is how to retrieve the column values. For example, if I want to know the values inside this invoice code column or inside the quantity column or any other column, I can do so by using 2 ways. Either by using a square bracket and then the column name. So in this manner, so df bracket invoice code, this will give me invoice code values, or I can use this dot operator df.inv code. So both are the ways to access. However, if you want to access 2 or more than 2 columns, make sure to use double brackets. So I've used the description and the quantity columns. Now let me run this. You can see that I've retrieved the values for 2 columns. So the reason behind the usage of the double bracket is the double bracket, the inner bracket is for lists and the outside bracket is basically for indexing. So there's yet another command called df.info, which basically gives me the information inside my data frame. So how many columns are there, or what is the data type, what are the total number of rows, and so on. Now next up is, if I want to explore the first few rows or the bottom few rows, how do I do that? So there are head and the tail command for that. So upon running df.head and passing no value inside this will give me the first 5 rows. If you notice that the index is 0 to 4, the first 5 rows, and if I pass on the value inside this, let's say I've given a value of 10 here, so this will give me 10 rows starting from 0 till 9th index, df.head 10, so it has given me top 10 rows. Similar is the case with a tail command. This will give me the last 5 rows. As you can see here, this has given me the last 5 rows. So this is how you deal with the head and the tail commands to view the data. Now let's see how do we deal with missing data. If I go ahead and run this command, now you can see that there are certain values which are represented by NaN. Now what this NaN is, this basically stands for not a number, and which eventually indicates that this is a null value. Now treating null values is of utmost importance whenever we are trying to build a model. We will remove all the missing values, we will remove all the anomalies. So this all comes under the EDA part, the data analysis part. Now as you've seen that this invoice code contains null values, it's very important to build a strategy to deal with these null values. See, either we can choose to drop them, or we can choose to fill them, or we can use another strategy. We can impute them with mean, with the average, and so on. So that basically depends on the strategy you are choosing. Now if let's say I go ahead and run this command, is null, this will give me the boolean values, basically the true and false values inside my data frame for the respective columns. So this true indicates that this invoice number has null values. Alternatively, I can use the NA command as well, is NA. So both can be used exchangeably, is null or is NA. So both are same. Now if I am interested in viewing the null values for a particular column, as you've seen that invoice code contains null values, but then if I want to view it for a particular column, I can go ahead and write pd, the alias is null, and then df.invoice code, the column that I'm interested in. So this will give me the total null values for that particular column. Now it's very important to how you're dealing with. So the first command is the fill any command. This will fill the null values with the value that you are passing inside this bracket. So here I'm passing this in this the invoice code with, let's say, no, and in place equals to true. Make sure that the changes are reflected in the database, in the data frame. Now let's go ahead and run this, not the quantity column. Df dot, I am using the df dot inv code. Now let's see, let's check. As you can see that there are no null values now because I've already replaced them with this no. Let's see, df, let's see, the no values, I've filled them. This was the fill any command. Now there is another command called drop any if you're interested in dropping the null values, or let's say if you're interested in dropping the rows with at least one NaN value, then you'll use the drop any command. If you want to drop the columns, if you want to drop all the columns that contain null values, so you can go ahead and use the command df drop anyhow equals to all. And there is yet another command called dtype if you want to explore the data type for a particular column. This quantity is integer, and you can use the dtype command, or you can view the dtypes for all the columns inside a data frame. You can do it this way as well. Now if you want to change the data type, you can use df dot or df bracket column name dot as type and then the data type. For example, if you want to change this unit price to integer, so I'll go ahead and use df dot unit price dot as type integer. Now see, this unit price has been changed to integer now. And the another command is df.columns, which will give me a list of the column in a data frame. This tells me that I have these many columns. So there are many more commands like this. For example, we have the group by command, the pivot command, and so on. So that's all for the basic analysis with pandas. I hope that this must have given you an idea on how to read a file, how to explore certain commands. Of course, there are more commands, and we will be exploring the other ways. We will be exploring the missing value section in detail in the upcoming videos, and we'll be using the commands like the group by command, how to create a group by, how to create a pivot, and so on. So we will be exploring more commands in the near future in the upcoming videos. So stay tuned for more such videos. Yeah, thank you so much.